Okay, I need to talk about this one. Back to the Future is one of my favorite film franchises of all time, and now there's been a bit of a stir about this on Netflix. Before we get into that though, if you enjoy the opinions in this video, be sure to click the thumbs up and subscribe buttons. They are the best ways to support this channel and to basically be advised as to whether other videos are coming out and when they're released and all of that stuff. Otherwise, if you're new here, I hope you do have fun and maybe even identify with some of the opinions that I do have. And if you're returning, it is awesome to have you back. Thank you very much for coming back. Let's get into this. There is a scene in Back to the Future Part 2 where Marty unveils a book that he's been searching for, and it's not the exact same book. He's looking for the Sports Almanac, if you know this scene, and he finds a different book, and rather than it being the sports bets for the next 50 years, it is an exotic book of the 50s.
Ooh la la.
And I'm assuming, by the way, that this is an exotic book of the 50s because honestly, who knows? I'm not sure if they've made this one up to be like the Play magazines.
Ooh la la. Ooh la la.
I'm not doing that research on any level because I'm not really interested in looking at those magazines. That is not what the topic of this video is today. The hard part is this. There is a version of this film that basically has that sequence or that scene where they unveil the incorrect book. That's not in the movie, okay? And I don't know how they've basically edited around it or what they've made it look like, or if they've just edited maybe 20-30 seconds of the film. Who knows? Maybe they just don't show that entire scene. It doesn't. I'm very confused about it. In the principal's office, obviously. Either way, this copy was actually used recently by Netflix, and it caused, I would say, a bit of a massive stir, at least amongst the fans of Back to the Future. And that's only too right. I think that is something that needs to happen. The scene isn't pivotal to the movie by any means. Okay, let me make that very clear. It is not 100% necessary unless you care about the movie being distributed and shown in its original form. Like me, I really do. I think that this adds something, a little bit of, something different to the film in the 80s that you just don't get, honestly, if you cut this out as a moment of basically showing you that Marty has been searching for this book and now he thinks he's finally actually got it. You would think that Marty is about to win, and there's another curveball, okay? And like the purist that I am, when it comes to certain films, I want people to see the whole film the way that it was intended to be viewed. Apparently, though, this was edited out because in certain countries, when the movie was originally released, this portion was, let's say, considered to be too raunchy for those countries. Now, I can understand that a dirty magazine, or basically encouraging people to see dirty magazines, maybe construed that way, especially for children who watch this movie, because I understand, especially now, children probably enjoyed these films, okay? This would have been one of those taboo concepts in 1985. I understand that completely. It makes sense. That doesn't mean, though, that these things need to be removed and edited out in the year 2020. Netflix has basically suggested that they just play the movies that are provided to them by the bigger companies, and that makes perfect sense to me. I understand that completely. I get it. I think it would be completely different if they themselves edited this scene out or had just basically uploaded it with no knowledge or intention to tell anybody else that they had edited it by themselves. I don't think that it would get the backlash that it deserves, but it would definitely give them a bit of heat. But it's not their fault, apparently. According to Netflix, Universal is the ones who gave them this version of the film. Now that's seriously, that's a kicker. To me, that's ridiculous. How can Universal still not only have this film, okay, on file? I get that there's possibilities for reasons why in certain countries, but according to Universal, right, why would you be sending the wrong version of the film? I'm just going to... Look, once this was made apparent, the mix-up was very quickly changed and no one was the wiser, okay? No one who hadn't seen it didn't know about it until all these articles came out. But this begs the question, in the age of quick edits and the removal of certain scenes, like this little sequence from Toy Story 2...
Prospector, how about you?
And so you two are absolutely identical? I'm sure I could get you a part in Toy Story 3. I'm sorry, are we back?
Oh, all right, girls. Lovely talking with you. Yes, anytime you'd like some tips on acting, I'd be glad to chat with you. All right, off you go then.
Is it any wonder that you should be concerned about companies supposedly sending out the wrong edit of a film? Now look, I understand that it's possible that maybe, I'm not saying that definitely, but maybe, it's possible that someone made a mistake and sent out the wrong version of the film.
Yes!
I get that. A little quick send this movie across scenario that wasn't basically double checked, wasn't labeled properly. Let's go with that. I'm giving them the mother of all assumptions here.
No!
But the issue that I have is that in a giant company like Universal, how is it that each edit of the film, whether digital, physical, whatever, it's not carefully labeled? They have to be. Surely they would be for specific countries so that they know what to send out to those countries. Now, any version with alterations would obviously need to be noted and marked for play in those countries, and that would mean that they would not be sending out this edited version, which means that according to, if you go by these rules, okay, and again, I'm just saying was very possibly a mistake, but if you go by this opinion that I'm going with, this train of thought, then it's very possible that they were just trying to edit out this scene, like, again, the scene from Toy Story 2, and I'm sure there's a whole myriad of other films that have had little sequences edited for your viewing pleasure according to them, okay? And lastly, by the way, I just want to say this. Editing out or removing only a portion of the scene is not a huge deal all on its own. I understand that completely, so maybe I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. Maybe. But making sure, by the way, I'm assuming that children don't see a magazine like Ooh La La is understandable as well. I completely get that. But at the same time, firstly, children wouldn't know what it is or why it's bad. Let's be honest with you, unless you're doing horrible parenting and you've shown your children nude, well, not even that, but bad magazines. It's 2020, and if they haven't seen worse than a black and white woman in a dress, then you're doing a very good job of parenting, or they haven't lived. That's the first thing. Secondly, if they can edit this just for that little thing and get away with it, or they could have gotten away with it, what else might they decide needs to have a little trim here and there to meet the supposedly all-inclusive culture? And I say the supposedly because how can we be sure that everything is inclusive if we're going to edit things out like this, which would then say that it's not actually all-inclusive? That's just... I am genuinely curious, by the way. If you have an answer for that, please, the comment section down below, let me know what you think of this whole topic. Anyways, that is all from me. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and let me know down below what you think of something like this happening and what other movies could be a potential target, sequences, scenes. Let me know. I would love to actually find out. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.